Before we start talking about The Last Jedi, I just want to let you guys know that Vikings has gone through a massive upgrade and features brand new RPG elements and a new hero. If you guys remember the top strategy and RPG games of the 90s and 2000s, which we were all crazy about, you're definitely gonna adore Vikings. The game gives you an option to choose your own playstyle, build an impregnable city, raise economy, use your diplomacy skills to rule the world, or just gather with friends. So if you guys want to support my channel today, download Vikings from the links in the description below and get your initial protection shield for free and my special bonus of 200 gold for a fast and successful start. Now with that being said, let's talk Star Wars The Last Jedi. What's happening, my fellow geeks and geekettes? Welcome to a brand new episode of Cosplay Chris, and today we are going to be doing a spoiler-free review of Star Wars The Last Jedi. I am joined by the beautiful Laura Gilbert.
Hi.
So Laura and I are going to be doing a spoiler-free discussion, no spoilers. So we just got done seeing The Last Jedi. First initial thoughts?
Awesomeness. It was immediate. Oh gosh, how do I've never done a review before.
That's okay.
So this is uncharted waters for me.
That's good. I'm still learning because my audience knows I don't do many movie reviews. I leave it to the big blockbusters, and obviously this is one of them.
Yep.
So my first initial thoughts were brilliantly executed.
Yep.
Had a lot of heart.
Yep. Had
a pretty coherent story.
Yeah.
And it was, you know, old characters mixed with new characters, Easter eggs, surprises, fan service.
My initial thoughts were like, whoa, that's amazing! I really enjoyed that! It was funny, it was entertaining. At not one point, I get very distracted. Sometimes I'll like think in tangents and I'll like think about that part, but it flowed so well that I'd focus on whatever was on the screen at the time instead of just like jumping back and like losing thought. Like when we watched The Revenant the other day, sometimes you're like, oh, that just happened, and you're processing that while something else is on the screen. But with this, it was like I was always engaged in what was happening at the time, even though it was a lot of different storylines happening at once to bring one big climax.
That's exactly right, and that was my only gripe, honestly, with the film, that it jumped. It was doing so much jumping, whether it be, you know, from Rey and Luke. Whether it was jumping from Rey and Luke to
What?
Every time I say it, now.
That's what Jason's like. He's like, don't say in your videos too much.
That's true.
Thank you, Papa Gilbert.
Thanks, Papa Gilbert. Hashtag Papa Gilbert.
Hashtag Papa Gilbert. There were... Sweaty man.
Oh man, it's bad.
There were so many different storylines happening at once. It was... I don't know, I think you disagree with me, but I could keep up with all the storylines and I wasn't overwhelmed by the amount of storylines. But yeah, it was good to see different groupings of characters as opposed to The Force Awakens. So it was a lot of different contrasting pairing.
Yep.
So that was good.
That's true, because they've got to set up all these different storylines, but in the end, they do come together in the end, and the payoff is really good. Like the climax of the film was brilliant. Visually, CGI-wise, I thought it did a pretty darn good job, especially with Snoke. Don't give much away about Snoke and what his drive is in the film, but I thought his appearance, it wasn't Steppenwolf.
Don't get me started
on
Steppenwolf. No, that was really good CGI. Everything about it was...
Yeah, the scenery, the ships, even the opening scene which jumps straight into the action was beautiful. The photography, the practical photography was beautiful.
I appreciated how at the very, very beginning of the film, they didn't hesitate to jump right into the action.
Yep.
I was like, pew, 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 right at the beginning.
Yeah.
Which, because I hate, you know, movies with slow intros, it's like, we've already known what's happened in like how many other episodes, let's just get to the chase. So it was really good. And obviously the opening yellow text set it up properly, so they
Yeah.
could do that with ease. And
I don't know about you, but with the yellow text, I was taking little mental notes of how they worded certain things. I'm like, that's going to come into play. We should really concentrate on those two wordings and stuff like that.
hero was a big theme. That whole
Yeah.
word of hero was like a massive, you know, it was a massive thing to look at. And so when heroes came up in the text, that's something that I didn't think to grab at the time. But then upon reflecting, I'm like, oh, heroes!
Lots of foreshadowing in the film. Lots of
So
symbolism.
much symbolism. I was like, that's a bit of symbolism there. And my English, my high school English, oh man, I was like, I could write at least 10 essays on this. I could write about belonging.
That's your homework for tonight.
Yeah.
But my idea of the premise is obviously we see Rey go to the secluded island that Luke Skywalker is hiding out on, that we saw at the end of
Force Awakens.
Force Awakens. And so we've got that storyline. We've also got the First Order trying to wipe out the rest of the rebellion, or the remaining rebellion. We've got all these storylines, which they do jump around with, but like I said, in the end, they come together, and the payoff is quite good with our old characters and our new characters, and setting up for the next film.
With the new characters, I was speaking to you about how we were quick to judge. So these new characters that were introduced, it was so easy to just judge them by their cover, and there were two characters in particular that were new that you thought were a baddie or you thought were a goodie, and then they turned out to be the opposite, then they turned back to being a goodie or a baddie, and it was just so confusing because you couldn't place them and you have no prior knowledge on these characters. And there were times where you would be like, there would be affirming actions by these characters and you're like, oh okay, so that's where their allegiances lie. But you know, and then these plot twists that kept coming in just took me by surprise. And I like to think I'm good at hypothesizing movies. Whenever we
So
see
am
one,
I.
I'm like, this is gonna happen, this character, there's a link there.
You're very good at predicting
I'm good.
plot twists.
I'm good. I'm not going to play it down. I'm really good
She's
at that.
really
I'm
good.
really good. So then when it was not going how I was expecting, I was like, white guy blinking meme. Like, can you edit that on the screen? Look at that impression.
And this is no spoiler, we obviously know this is Carrie Fisher's last feature film. And there were some really heartfelt moments with Leia. You know, she
Yeah.
had to deliver some dialogue that was very heartfelt, even if there was no dialogue at all, and she had to emote through facial expressions. And just to see Mark Hamill have his 15 minutes of fame, well not really 15 minutes, because he does have adequate screen time in this film.
Yeah, it was enough to keep me satisfied.
Absolutely.
You know, obviously I would watch a film just Mark Hamill, because who doesn't want to watch Luke Skywalker for
absolutely.
as long as possible. But yeah, it was good, and there were the dialogue that was passed at some points did kind of emote to Carrie's passing, which I appreciated.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I was really upset how there was no. We didn't stay till the end of the credits because there were just so many people. The cinema was packed, and
We had to go to the toilet.
rushing to the bathroom after that film. But I reckon they could have, at the very, very beginning of the film or the very end before the credits, you know, for Carrie, or in loving memory of Carrie, and they didn't do that. I don't know if it came after the credits, but I reckon it should have been an immediate kind of thought.
Someone will probably confirm in the comments section whether or not.
But I still think it should have been right at the beginning, right at the end,
Yeah.
because she was you know,
fantastic in the
just
film.
beautiful person, beautiful actress, and was meant a lot to the whole Star Wars Star Wars!
Star Wars!
My glasses fell off! Ah!
Now another thing, and it's happening more and more, and it's so good to see, is more female leadership in these Star Wars films,
Yes.
which is great.
Yes.
We saw a lot more female pilots. That's not a spoiler. We saw a lot more female pilots in this film. A lot more female generals and high-ranking leadership, which I think is awesome.
It's definitely like a big jump from, obviously, Padme and Leia were always in the forefront, but there was that sexualization, you know, Leia in the slave Leia costume, and always the damsel in distress needing to be saved. And it's really cool to see those female characters actually like come forward and have responsibility and have a massive role and purpose, and not be barely dressed or stuff like that. So as
be in a uniform and give orders. It
was awesome. And the new character Rose was a big part that I was super happy to see as well, because obviously she was a double minority, being Asian and female in a full role, and like I was like super stoked to see that. She was fantastic. At first when we were introduced to her, I didn't think she would be as big as she was.
Especially with her scenes with John Boyega as Finn.
His eyeliner!
Yeah, I know!
His eyeliner!
Laura pointed out that John Boyega was wearing guy liner, and
I don't have a problem with guys wearing eyeliner or
it.
makeup, but once I spotted it, I couldn't stop looking at his eyeliner, because I love eyeliner. I like eyeliner.
Oh yeah, I know.
So I appreciated it, but at the same time, every time I saw him, I would be like, is there a continuity in his eyeliner? And one shot, he didn't have the eyeliner, and I was like,
was Oscar
white guy blinking me?
Was Oscar Isaac wearing eyeliner?
No.
I couldn't unsee it after you told me. Like from the different storylines that were going on, what was your favourite? Mine's Rey and Luke. Obviously we know that, you know, Luke trains Rey. One of the storylines revolves around that. That was my favourite, to see the Jedi, like the old school Jedi.
My favourite would have to be Rey and Kylo. See that kind of build up to what it was towards the end of the film, because I don't really feel it's a spoiler for me to say, you know, Kylo and Rey, they clash heads again and they meet. I liked Kylo and Rey. That was awesome to see.
It was nice to see that Adam Driver's character had progressed a bit, even though he's still immature and sort of a brat.
Still a angsty teenage boy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely so. But the trailer led me think other things of Kylo, and so when I watched the movie, I was kind of enlightened and taken by surprise. But there was one scene where he was shirtless for no given reason.
He got jacked.
But I didn't need to see that. I don't think anyone needed to see that. And it was actually brought up in the movie. They're like, put on some clothes. Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Like, I understand he might have been happy with doing that scene and he wants to show off or whatever, but for me, I was like, can we keep this down? I didn't, because that was sexualizing him and a male, and like, I'm kind of against sexualization of, you know, it was unnecessary.
I think it's because the filmmakers thought when the reveal happened in The Force Awakens, when he took the helmet off and everyone was like, this goofy looking guy is the bad guy. They're like, he needs to beef up and have a bit more stature for this, so he's believable as a villain. But it was not necessary.
I disagree with that. I think it's the mentality that makes a villain, not their physique.
They don't get that. Studios.
Well, I do. I believe it.
Go work for Lucasfilm and change the way.
Okay? I'll give them a call.
Off you go. No, I can't finish this on my own. I need you.
Okay. Well, not one thing. There's many things that I liked, but a big thing was the comedic relief for me that made this film stand out. So in the original trilogy, we spoke R2-D2 and C-3PO. They were like the comedic relief, and they were a bit goofy and funny, and it kept it flowing. Whereas in this movie, we still have C-3PO and R2-D2, but they kind of take a back seat, and we're introduced to the little, what are they called?
Porgs.
Porgs, I love them! The Porgs, and there was an Iron.
We still got BB-8.
BB-8, and just these little tiny characters, just for a snippet, just keeping it lighthearted and making it all fun.
Yeah.
Which I really like, those little scenes that kept it funny, and so it wasn't the responsibility of the main roles to do the goofiness or the comedic relief, and it kept it believable, yet still providing humor, and it was awesome. I love that balance.
Yeah. Though they still, like, the main characters did still have comedic lines. It wasn't forced, it wasn't thrown in your face.
Yeah.
But like you said about C-3PO and R2, back in the original trilogy, you know, they saved the day at certain points, and like I mentioned before, the beginning of Return of the Jedi, when they go to Jabba's palace, you know, they had a purpose, in this, I just feel like they threw them in there for the sake of nostalgia.
I'm dehydrated in this Australian heat. Oh!
What a break. The score. I'll leave you to it.
Yeah, John Williams, it was so good that we have the new theme, like the Resistance theme, and for those of you that don't know, I'm a trumpet teacher, that's my job, and we were learning the score for the Force Awakens, and the Resistance theme is so good, yet it was still different to the Force Awakens version, and it was a variation. It was a variation on the theme, and it was awesome, but all the music was so symphonic, and there were fight scenes that were so linked with the music that every hit was orchestrated, and it just really sunk in with what was happening on screen as opposed to it just washing over. It was so connected, and there were aspects of Harry Potter in there that I was like, oh, that sounds a bit like the Harry Potter soundtrack. Of course, John Williams did it. With that being said, there were Harry Potter themes throughout the movie and the storyline as well that I couldn't help but like notice. Like the parcel tongue thing that you didn't get.
No.
I'm the Harry Potter fan, leave. And there were a lot of Harry Potter influences in there that my Potter head just exploded.
It's like with every blow, there was a beat in this one scene. They didn't just drape a score over that scene for the sake of it. They've got that scene and put a lot of thought into the score behind that.
On you, Johnny.
Oh, it was that was my goosebump moment.
Yes.
And it's a spoiler, but it's a goosebump moment for me.
That's not a spoiler. You didn't tell them what scene it was. It's just...
No, that's what I'm saying. So I'm not going to tell them. It's a spoiler.
Yeah.
But that was my goosebump scene.
Is it a spoiler to talk about the red people?
No, like they've been in promo art.
Oh,
okay, so Snoke's bodyguards.
Snoke's bodyguards were awesome.
That's like my favorite costume.
I love them. I saw it, I was like, I want to cosplay that. And then I thought of all the red spray paint bottles, like in the back of my head.
All the foam, all the spray paint bottles, everything. But it's like you said, it's like a samurai.
Yeah, it was so oriental with their weapons were very samurai-like and how they moved, and there was no uniform thing about them apart from their uniform. They were all red, they were all in the same costume, but their weapons were different. And unlike stormtroopers, they all stand like this. Whenever they got ready to battle, each of them were in a new, different kind of kung fu-like pose.
Battle stance, ready to go.
The battle stances were different, and even though they all looked the same, they all had individual personas, and they didn't say a word.
They weren't throwaways. And they put up a fight.
They were good. I liked them. Oh gosh, Phasma.
Phasma. Oh,
Phasma did not get enough time. Yeah. I am annoyed about that. I love the actress, and I wanted to see her face. Is that a spoiler? No, it's not. I wanted to see her face, her beautiful face. I love her. That's all. Costuming.
Yeah.
You're a cosplay channel, for crying out loud. Sorry.
Costuming?
Was amazing. It was so good, yet they still kept to, Kylo's original costume and Rey's original costume, but like I said before, variations on the same material that made it new but familiar.
I liked Luke's wardrobe changes, but I still thought it was kind of hermit-esque, but still kept the theme of Jedi.
Yeah, and symbolic as well. I found the colours of all the costumes were super symbolic.
Absolutely.
And yeah, I just love Rey's. She had the same haircut all the way through, which makes it nice, doesn't it? Because it's like, I know what it's like to do hair and cosplay.
But it's not like Padme where it's constant wardrobe, hair changes, over the top stuff.
Yeah.
Rey's she's a warrior.
Yeah.
She's a badass in this film.
There was a bit of convenience. Some of the characters, no spoilers here, but some of the characters, it's like, where did you learn that skill? Oh, that's very convenient how you know how to do that, even though we have no background on how you know how to do that.
Or a certain character will show up at the right time. I'm like,
it's like a firefighter. They know how to put out a fire, but then randomly they make a really amazing souffle. It's like, okay, that's a skill I didn't know you had because I assumed you could only do this one thing. Does that make sense?
Just no explanation for certain things.
No explanation for certain things.
No explanation.
No explanation.
Summation, and how many geeks out of 5?
5 geeks out of 5.
Yeah?
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, overall, I thought it was a damn good film. It was entertaining, good storyline, good mix of new characters, old characters, Easter eggs, fan service. Again, my only gripe was the jumping from storyline to storyline, but in the end, they all serve a purpose, they all intertwine, and the payoff was brilliant. And I cannot wait for episode 9. So, for me, 4.5 geeks out of 5.
Cool. Well,
Okay.
5 out of 5 for me, 4.5 for this guy. I want to know what your rating out of 5 geeks is. Comment below. Cool. It's your channel. Sorry, I should step back. Ooh.
Actually, you know what?
What?
You can field this. Lead us out. Guys, thank you so much as always for watching. I'm gonna leave it to Laura to, you should know my outro by now.
Never get to the end.
Oh my god.
Sorry. Wherever you are, you have a great day. Isn't it something like that? It's like, wherever you are, be merry, be happy, be silly, and most importantly, geeks,
And always
remember, cosplayers do it best.
I don't twitch.
Yeah, you do.
Do I?
Do you?
Do I?
You're twitching
Do I
yourself.
twitch? So thanks very much for watching, guys. Next week I'm starting the Star Wars custom collectible. I've got the TIE Fighter and the U-Wing. I'm gonna do that exploding kind of scene. And after seeing The Last Jedi today, it's got me amped to do it. So that's gonna be next week.
Can you do a porg?
A porg?
Porg.
I can try. Do you wanna help me?
Yes.
I'm teaching this one how to make molds this afternoon. I'm really excited. She's a natural at this stuff. Guys, wherever you are in the world,
Get
have yourselves
your
a
stuff together.
cracker of a weekend. Hope you're well, hope you're happy, be merry, be silly. And until next time, geeks, please always remember.
Cosplay's doing best! I think you should use that.
I am.
Is it filming now? Ah! Are we live?
Yeah. Boom!
Ah! You invite me to be in your video and then you scare me. I'm so gone.
Where are you going?
I'm going over, just over there. Welcome to my video.
Hey.
Hi everyone. Thanks for having me.
I didn't have a choice.
Quit your winning, Stanley.
I've been slaving in this garage
Oh!
for nearly 13 Yes, I know, it's a beautiful workshop.
Oh my gosh, is that a spoiler?
Yeah.
Ah! With the sorry. Bleh.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, hello.